Okay, how's it going? Time for Husker Football Friday. Okay, so let's talk some Husker football here. I want to do this show every Friday, just as a fan, talk about Husker football. You know what I mean. As a fan, I just really have a lot of thoughts on the Huskers. Being a Nebraska native, it's just all there is to do in the fall is Husker football. It just, it's so great. I cannot wait for this season to get over and just see where we end up, because right now we're ranked. We're actually ranked for the first time in a long time, and it is awesome. The running game's working. We beat Oregon. We beat Oregon. It was awesome. The running game's working. Tommy's, for the most part, making good decisions. Our secondary looks good. It looks awesome right now. And yes, Husker football is looking good. After last season, we had all those heartbreaking losses. A lot of people were calling for Riley's head, and it's only his first season working all with Bo's recruits. Nothing against Bo's recruits, but Riley and his coaching staff had some troubles working with what they wanted to do with what the players were more used to doing and more capable of doing. And I think this year they've done a lot better job of meshing it together with what the team is built to do versus what the coaches want to do. Riley is a good coach, and I think his offense works if you have the players to do it. Personally, our receiving core is awesome. Even as we're banged up, our receiving core is good. They're good. They might be top 3 in the Big Ten. There are a few arguments you can make for our teams, but we have a real good receiving core. With that being said, Tommy Armstrong. QB touchdown Tommy. Woo! I like Tommy. He's a heck of a competitor. If you put him out there on the football field, he will drive, do everything he can to guide his team to the win. With that being said, with Tommy, as much as it sounds like a cliche, sometimes you get the good Tommy who's out there running around, making plays, keeping plays alive, doing all he can. And sometimes you get the bad Tommy. The Tommy makes risky decisions, poor decisions. And this year we haven't seen that a whole lot, which is good. It looks good for how this season is going. But as the season progresses and we play teams that aren't Oregon, and maybe the players, maybe Tommy, maybe the team doesn't have as much motivation playing the Northwesterns and Purdue's and Maryland's, I'm interested to see how they're going to play. Because we've seen, even a couple times this season, Tommy make decisions where it's just, why would you not just throw the ball away or take a sack and live for another down? I know that's hard to say when you're just a fan and you're not out there in the heat of the moment, not getting smacked and hit. It's hard to say that, but I think it's looking good. Tommy is looking real good. You gotta talk about quarterback first. And Tommy is our guy. As much as anyone wants to say for anything else, I don't think we have anyone else that's really ready at this point. Yeah, our backups are okay as backups, but if Tommy goes down, it might be a little rough. With that being said, let's move on to the offensive line. They are looking better and better as the season goes on. The first two games I was a little worried because it didn't really look like they were getting much of a push. I realize they're a young offensive line, they have to gel yet, and a lot of guys got moved around and all sorts of stuff, but the offensive line in that Oregon game, granted Oregon doesn't have a huge, really talented, over-the-top defensive front, the offensive line looked good. They were getting to push, more and more push throughout the game, putting hats on hats. The receivers were blocking, the tight ends looked good. The line was getting to push. We were able to rush the ball as the game went on. We wore them down and wore them down and wore them down, which is a good sign. If we keep doing that for the rest of the season, it's going to take the load off Tommy. It's going to take the load off the passing game. It's going to make the rushing game go much better. And it gives those linemen that killer instinct. That is what you need. Those linemen are going to go out there and they're going to dominate the football game. They are going to dominate that defensive front. That is what you want from the Husker football. That is what you want. That's Husker football. Put the offensive line out there and have them push and push and dominate the game. That's what you need in Husker football. That's what I think we've been missing last year, even a couple of years, is we need a real offensive line that has that killer instinct. They're going to go out there, they're going to push you around, and they're going to control that game. And I think they're gelling. They're gelling. They're looking good. It's really looking awesome. Receivers, we're getting a little banged up and it's starting to worry me. Westy's getting every team's best corner because by now everyone knows Westerkamp, he can run his routes. He's a great route runner. He's a great jump ball wide receiver. And as well as he runs his routes and as crafty as he is, he can get some separation. He's not the fastest guy out there. We all know Westerkamp is probably not going to get the separation that faster receivers are going to get. But down the field anyways. But he runs his routes so well. He fakes out cornerback so well. And he can find that hole in the coverage, especially in zone. But as it's been going, teams have really been focusing on Westy, which is kind of, people keep saying, oh, I can't believe Westerkamp isn't getting that many looks or that many touches. It's because they're covering him. Our other receivers are good, but geez, we're getting banged up. We had a freaking walk-on catching his first touchdown last game, which was awesome. Walk-on against Oregon. First touchdown as a Husker. It was an awesome moment. It was one of the awesome moments in that game. But what I'm saying is, we can't keep getting banged up with this. We have a real deep receiving core, but the receivers we're losing are really good receivers. And it hurts a little bit. Tight ends, what can I say? They're doing their job. They're blocking. They're getting out there in the passing game. We look okay. I don't really have any negatives about the tight ends right now, other than maybe we could get them a little more involved in the passing game. I mean, we tried, but there are a couple drops, and that makes it hard. Running backs. Oh, well, we look good. As long as we keep running behind this offensive line, we look good. We got guys with a lot of talent. Newbie, I like Newbie. I think Newbie is a good blocker. Especially in the pass game, he knows what he's doing, he knows where to block, and he puts his body out there. And I think Newbie can find the hole pretty well. But Newbie gets tackled by arm tackles. He's done better this year, but I'm still not convinced that Newbie is just going to go down the second he gets touched every time he runs the football. Our other running backs, a little more bigger, a little more bruisers. They're a little younger. It'll take some time for them to start finding those holes and knowing when to cut, where to go, when to follow the line, and that's going to take some time. But you know what? They look good. And Husker defense, woo! Last game, we showed up to play. And that first quarter, when they were running that, Oregon was running that hurry-up offense, it did not look good. Especially early on in that first quarter. But defense leveled up. Our linebackers started figuring things out. The defensive line looked better as the game went on. They started getting penetration. Started getting a real push. The linebackers looked good. And the secondary, oh my goodness. We have a young secondary. Some really good players out there. And I think we're only going to get better. We had so much great coverage in that game. The Oregon quarterbacks didn't have anywhere to go with it. Even when they did, it was good coverage. We didn't really have any real busted coverages in that entire game. And that is a real solid look for the future if we keep improving. If the defensive backs, if the safeties, if everyone keeps doing what they're doing and they keep improving, oh my, look out for Husker football. Because, woo, this secondary looks good. Against Oregon that had a lot of speed at receiver, has, in the past at least, even early on in the season, had a pretty good passing game. For the most part, we shut them down. They got most of their yards on that zone, on those zone reads, and moving players around, doing a lot of interesting, articulate things. But as far as the passing game went, our secondary made every throw tough. They made every read tough. They made it really hard for Oregon to have anywhere to go with the football where it wasn't going to be thrown into really good coverage. And that is what we want to see. It's been a long time since we've had several games in a row where we haven't had just blown coverages. Blatant blown coverages where guys didn't know where they were supposed to go, didn't know what they were doing, or just tripped up or something. But it looked really good, and if that keeps up, if they keep improving for the rest of the season, watch out, because if our coverage keeps going like that, we're going to get coverage sacks. The defensive line is going to make their job easier. The linebackers might be able to get some more rush on the passer. Might be able to throw our linebacker Newbie in there, have him rush off the edge. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait for the rest of this season. Go Huskers tomorrow. Go Big Red. Have a nice weekend, everybody. Make sure to check out the game. Let's beat Northwestern. Let's go.